it's Scott Barrett, and you're here with another episode of The Burning Truth. And this week, I'm joined, as always, by a man that has such a unique style, no one else would dare to try it. It's Matt Burns, everybody.
You know, I'm ahead of the times.
Ahead of the times.
In my mind.
He says wearing his wife beater. How are you? Good week?
It's interesting, but at the same time, I've also got to put out an apology.
An apology?
An apology!
Go on then, what
because for? Last week, I believe that I stated that I was going to be mentioning something about, you know, a certain former Sasha Banks.
Oh, Mercedes Moné.
Mercedes Moné.
You did say something about that, and then you
didn't. I never said anything, which was basically during last week. What was more relevant for her was a sign that was Moné is trash on the front row. That's it. That's all it was for last week.
And you felt you needed to apologise.
I felt like I needed to apologise because I made out it was something important, and unfortunately it wasn't.
So you just didn't sleep until you said that?
I just didn't sleep until I had to say it because, bear in mind, the fact that, you know, it's not like she's a champion. Oh, wait. Yeah, she is. She is a champion.
Yeah, but we talked about this. Everyone in AEW is a champion.
Everyone's a champion, and I've got less and less, thought about it. But anyway, you know, for the week in general, I'd say busy week, but morale's good.
Good. I'm glad. Been up to anything exciting?
I've been mostly preparing for a few things for either towards upcoming shows and also for UKWA because I believe I will be involved at UKWA because I'm just working at the moment because I'm not technically running it.
Cool. Happy days. What have I been up to since you didn't ask?
I was about to ask, man. Give me a few seconds.
DIY, that's all done. Moving, that's all done. We decided not to talk about the Vince McMahon documentary, didn't we? Because we watched that the last couple of weeks. But, I mean, guys, let's be fair. You're probably getting that from every other wrestling site on the planet. So we decided to go a different way and not talk about it because, actually, we can't follow anything else that's been done. I think it's been done to death. It's
been sort of done, OTT.
Yeah, it's been overdone. So I watched that again this week. And like I said, I think there's no real new news from it. Everything. If you're a die-hard wrestling fan, you knew everything that was in that documentary before.
To some, there were little bits, but from this, the only piece a little bit I've heard. But then again, I might save that for the next segment.
Yeah, and more than anything, enjoying now on a Wednesday morning using our YouTube site at Burning Truth 251 to talk about all things NXT. You know from now, guys, if you have been following the podcast for the last 6 or 7 weeks, that we never get a chance to talk about NXT on the pod, but we always run out of time.
We always do, but then again, where do we fit it all in? Because today's going to be interesting when we get to certain reviews, because we've got a lot to talk about.
Loads of wrestling to talk about, and that's why we've decided to carve out some special time to talk about NXT each and every week. On a Wednesday, you can watch us live or play us back on YouTube. We'll do NXT live reactions to Wednesday night's NXT, Tuesday night's NXT show. You can catch that on Wednesday mornings, UK time, on YouTube at The Burning Truth 251.
And I will say, a bit of a snazzy, thumbnail that it's got as well.
Yeah, thanks for doing me that, yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome. Well, you were looking... As soon as I saw it, I thought, he's looking dapper now. I've got to fit it in.
I love that shirt. And I think that's pretty much for what I've been doing this week. I think it's probably time that we talk about...
The news!
So just sit tight, don't blow a fuse, because now it's time for this week's news.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the news!
The news! Yeah, what have we got going on this week, Matt Burns?
We've got quite plenty, but the one thing I'm just going to start off with was what I went to mention just in the intro.
Oh, go on.
Which was, there has been talk of a continuation of a TV series in regards to Vince McMahon.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. Go on,
yeah, because there was like little nuggets, because I think they were hoping to be able to bring it up. I think it's more or less of certain individuals who didn't like the way that Vince was portrayed on the...
So Bruce, yeah.
Yeah, Bruce, definitely. He was one of them. And probably Vince as well. But the thing is about it is, I think as though that will just go out, be gone if certain allegations and certain things do get revealed.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, then fair enough, they might have a case in point. But overall, I don't think the actual, the Netflix documentary didn't exactly do it. It wasn't too damning, was it?
No, it was no new news. I think probably to a casual fan who didn't know any of that detail would have been like, oh my god. But to people who've lived it, I suppose some of that stuff that is probably quite shocking is just that's something that happened. Yeah, he totally wanted to pretend he was the father of his daughter's baby,
Which was mentioned on the actual Vince McMahon DVD.
Yeah.
That
but that's what I mean. If you're a casual fan, that might shock you.
Yeah.
But to an experienced wrestling fan, let's call him.
The biggest shocker for me was the argument between Shane and Vince.
I don't think that shocked me. I think that Shane McMahon comes out of the documentary looking better than anybody else.
Yes.
If it was a Shane McMahon documentary, he comes out of it looking like roses.
Oh, he does.
Right.
Even Stephanie even did look great.
No.
Especially when it was mentioned about Mike Tyson.
Yeah. So, Shane comes out of it looking great. I think the only thing really from the documentary, if we are going to talk about it some more, the biggest thing that shocked me was Steve Austin's his opinion on CTE.
Yeah.
That was the one thing in the entire documentary, because I'd heard all the rest before. That was the one thing in the entire documentary that I went, really?
Really?
Like, really? Like, they literally studied his brain.
Yeah.
Benoit's brain, they studied it. He had CTE, the worst they'd ever seen. But he doesn't believe in CTE. He's not a CTE guy, whatever that means. Not that people are wearing t-shirts that say CTE for life, but he's just not a CTE guy, whatever that means. So, yeah, God, Austin, one of the greatest of all time, but, I mean...
Doesn't believe in CTE.
Yeah, not a fan of that, brother. What else we got in the news? AEW's TV deal.
Yes.
Let's talk through that, Matt Burns.
That, I will say, is groundbreaking, and bear in mind that...
Is it?
For AEW, it is. For AEW. Because it actually gets them out of quite... It basically gets them out of certain waters. The murky waters of where people were sitting there saying they're going to go out of business, they're failing, because you've even got Chris Jericho making jabs of, congratulating on the TV deal and saying that they made certain individuals looking like fools.
Yeah. But then, do you know what? It was interesting that, because a lot of that points back at Bischoff, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Bischoff never actually said that he didn't think they'd get a TV deal. This is Meltzer's reporting that his opinion, but Eric never actually said that AEW weren't going to get a TV deal.
No, I know that. I actually noticed that, because a lot of people... It's just the fact that they point the finger and sitting there saying, oh, they're never going to get the TV deal, they're never going to get the TV deal. Well, was it actually said?
Yeah, and there was loads going on, weren't there? But AEW would have been in hot water had the sale of WWE gone a different way. So at one point, Warner Bros. Discovery were in to buy WWE. That was one of the things on the table. Ended up, we know, being sold to Endeavour, merging with the UFC to create sister companies to become this TKO brand. But yeah, if WBD, in a different universe, in the multiverse, WBD acquired WWE, and then there's no way AEW ends up on the same station.
They could have been essentially almost in the same situation as what WCW had when, at the end.
Yeah, where they just didn't want the program.
Where they didn't have the network.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's AEW's TV deal. And I'm reading something about everything will be simulcast on the app.
Yeah, I did hear about that. It's a bit unusual, it's supposedly going to be on an app, because I believe that if fans in America, they're actually pulling away from the Bleacher Report stuff because of the whole TV deal.
Okay.
Well. I think it's because anybody who's on Bleacher Report it's actually being transferred over to Thriller.tv now.
So, Cultaholic Wrestling are reporting that the new deal means that Dynamite will continue on Wednesday nights on TBS. Collision will be broadcast on Saturday nights on TNT. Both shows will also live stream on HBO Max streaming service in addition to their respective TV channels. Rampage was not included as part of the new AEW WBD deal, as the two parties reportedly prioritised Dynamite and Collision, which ultimately means that Rampage is set to be cancelled at the end of 2024 unless AEW finds a new home for the series.
Yeah, or it could go down the route of what Dark did.
Go to YouTube.
YouTube.
Potentially.
Potentially.
The new AEW WBD deal also includes a pay-per-view component, and AEW's major events will be available to purchase for Max subscribers at a discounted price later in 2025, and AEW's branding of pay-per-views will centre around Max. So, also be available on HBO Max, and they're going to continue to push that. The pay-per-views will continue to be available at full price on other platforms, including Triller, payperview.com, etc. But yeah, they're going to be pushing that the pay-per-views are going to be available on Max.
Yeah.
So almost moving to a very similar model as the WWE.
To a degree, the only difference is not everyone across the world has got HBO Max.
Correct.
So that's where there's a bit less...
Correct. And that's only like now, right? Not everywhere in the world's got a Peacock.
Yeah.
You know.
But at least but as an alternative, they've actually got the WWE Network.
Yeah.
So that's where you've got the alternative.
And we'll do a special on the WWE Network saying goodbye. I will remember you at the end of the year. Yeah? At the end of the year, when the WWE Network will die forever, as everything goes to Netflix.
That's going to be weird for me.
It's going to be so weird. But yeah, that's the AEW TV deal. Next piece, the next two pieces of news that I have are both UK centric, which is awesome, right?
Yeah.
The 2025 Elimination Chamber rumoured to be in the UK in either Manchester or Birmingham.
Yeah.
Good news.
That is good news.
Yeah,
really
looking forward
good
to that.
news.
Yeah, I think I'm going to do everything I can to get tickets and maybe take my kids as well, because I think that's going to be an epic. Hopefully, that all comes through. I mean, Elimination Chamber, that is the one, probably more than any other premium live event, that has travelled over the last few years. We've had Saudi Arabia, Australia, Canada, and now looking at the UK. So I think absolutely fantastic idea if they can get it over here.
For me, that'll actually just tick off and one of my little tick boxes.
Yeah.
On me check. Yeah, because bear in mind, I've been to an AEW event.
Yeah.
But proper pay-per-view.
Yeah.
To now move on to a WWE, but instead of it just being just a casual, Clash at the Castle and everything, this is Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, big event. Clash at the Castle, though, if we just talk about Clash at the Castle for a minute, the first one, like, one of the best wrestling events I've ever been. I've never wanted somebody to win a championship as much as I wanted Drew McIntyre to win the championship that night. I full on believed, right? Wrestling's all about making you believe, right? And for that evening, I believed.
Yeah, I can.
If they can do that again, get Money in the Bank over here, I think that'll be absolutely fantastic. And then our last piece of news this week, unless you've got anything else, Matt Burns, is...
Wow, we've actually got a World of Sport legend who's been in the local paper. I actually read this in the Sun. So as you can imagine, and by the way, I'm not sitting there saying I just only read the Sun. I read many different newspapers. So
you can listen. We don't judge here, Matt Burns. You can read what you want. If you want to read the Sun, you want to have a look at page 3, that is on you.
No. No, it was actually pointed out from a family member who literally passed me the actual paper, and I just looked at it and was, what? A whole, double page on Kendo Nagasaki.
Kendo Nagasaki, yeah. Kendo Nagasaki is slated to return to the ring in the UK this year at 83 years old.
83 years old.
Woo!
And he actually does a good... They actually done a really good write-up where he actually talks about where he got people that upset. He was getting stabbed with pens.
Yeah.
Old ladies with handbags hitting him with house bricks in them.
For those who don't know, Kendo Nagasaki is a masked samurai character who first was portrayed on the UK wrestling scene by Peter Thornley. Absolutely a household name in the UK. Used to take on the likes of Big Daddy, Rollerball Rocco, Giant Haystacks, who went across to wrestling in the US later in his career.
Yeah, and he's also even had victories against Andre the Giant.
Yeah, so apparently he beat Andre the Giant in the UK a couple of times.
Yeah.
Before he was beaten by Hulk Hogan. If you believe the documentary, that was the first time
they ever met. Oh, even though
Andre was ever beaten.
Yeah.
But yeah, so absolutely massive. And when is this planned to happen, or who's this going to happen for, Matt?
I believe it's for a company. I think it was up. No, he's actually heading towards Blackpool to move there for his training and everything. But I can't off the top of my head. I'm literally just trying to remember.
We'll bring that to you next week.
We'll bring it back to you next week,
and we'll talk a bit more about Kendo.
Yeah, because at the moment, I think the main focus is the fact that he literally just says, "I'm 83. No one's going to actually hurt me. I'm sort of like an old dinosaur with razor sharp teeth."
We've met him a few times, right? Been lucky enough to be on same show as him a couple of times, the same event as him. Absolute character, great guy. Couldn't happen to a nicer bloke.
Yeah, does a lot for the community as well.
100%. Yeah,
a lot. And the good thing about it is he's still got that presence.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Regardless of anyone can sit there saying, "Oh, he's 83," and that. But the point being is, if you actually met the guy, he's still got that presence to him, that aura. And
not paid sponsorship here, but his book's an absolutely fantastic read. So if you can get hold of Kendo Nagasaki, the man behind the mask,
yes,
really good read.
Yeah, really good read. I can vouch for that.
Shall we get on to a review of this week's wrestling?
Let's get on to it. Do you want to go first, or shall I?
Let's do AEW first.
Right. So
I hear there's a lot happening in AEW this time of year.
Right. So you say. Right. I'm just going to get straight to the point. I'm going to apologise because this segment's been taking up too much time in the past. I'm just going to move on. Just going to get the bullet points out of the way. The whole Moxley and Bryan Danielson, yeah, great. They continue the feud. I just felt as though the actual main event the main event, which was Bryan Danielson versus Okada.
Was this Dynamite this week?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a good match. Confusing in regards to how the championship was being fought over.
Yeah, it was a bit confusing. This is the titles on the line for the first 20 minutes.
No. Yeah, it was sort of. It was the Continental, right, and the AEW World Championship is both on the line until after a time period. Then the Continental is off.
Yeah.
So I was just there thinking to myself, so right. So if you don't beat him in a certain time, is that trying to make the Continental look a bit more bigger than the main?
My favourite wrestler of all time, Double J, Jeff Jarrett, right? Always says, if you confuse them, you lose them. That lost me this week.
Yeah. It completely lost me as well. So let's move on. Private Party. They want tag team championships by fighting the Young Bucks. They actually put out a call out in a what many of us would call a squash match. Walked out, beat them up, and moved on. Mariah May, who was the AEW Women's World Champion, had words. That's it.
She just had some words.
Just had some words for Willow Nightingale. Hook, I think the whole Hook situation was really smart, what they did there, because Taz is needing to take some time off. So he's been attacked.
Oh, right, okay.
Right? And Hook is saying he's going to come for whoever's attacked him, essentially.
Got you.
But this is actually a cover because Taz needs an operation.
Has he had a new knee?
I believe he might. It's relation to a new knee, potentially. Yeah. So we'll move on. I will say, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD versus Serena Deeb. Great match.
Can't we just call her Britt Baker?
No, it has to have the DMD in it.
Why? What does DMD?
She's a dentist.
Yeah, but we don't call him Isaac Yankum DMD. He was DDS.
He wasn't qualified to the high standard.
Go on, carry on.
And to be honest with you, even I saw that certificate. It looked dodgy. It looked like it was paid by the king. But anyway, good match, back and forth. but I felt, good storytelling
Yeah.
with it, which was great. So, but the only thing I thought was a bit weird is, Britt won the match, then Serena Deeb suddenly, after tapping out, suddenly come back, fighting back to have Queen Aminata to come out to make the save.
Okay.
And it just felt as though it was like continuing that feud, but why was that happening? It looks like we're getting Jack Perry doing his usual thing of just coming down, saying he's going to fight somebody, and Shibata is looking like he wants to challenge him for it.
Okay.
But I believe...
is he still the TNT champion?
Yes, he's still the TNT championship.
Okay.
Well, champion.
Yeah.
And we've got Shibata, who I believe that Joe called him Speak and Spell, because he uses an app to speak for him.
A translator?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, a saving moment I will say, for me, was Hangman Adam Page.
Okay.
For me, against Juice Robinson. Great match. Great storytelling. And the fact that, Hangman Page got the win, that wasn't the story. The match was good, that wasn't the thing to focus on. It was after. Because you got, literally, Hangman Adam Page trying to literally live up to his name by taking his belt off and attempting to hang Juice, which immediately brought out the ire of a returning Switchblade Jay White.
Ah, okay, so Jay White's back.
Oh yeah, definitely back. And I will say, if you're going to be throwing someone to the table, just make sure you throw him either hard enough and make sure you aim at the centre of the table, not the edge. Ow! That had to hurt. Darby Allin stated he's doing an open...
Speaking of things that hurt.
Yep. Speaking of things that hurt, Darby Allin, who's upset that he lost his championship opportunity and instead is doing like some sort of open challenge. Right, great. Chris Jericho challenging for the ROH World Championship against Mark Briscoe. Okay, that's fine. I felt as though a part of this it went a little bit too far for one bit, because Jericho tried to get under the ire of Mark.
Okay.
And to bring up his brother, not cool. Not cool. It just didn't feel right. It didn't seem like it was in good taste.
Okay.
To me. Mark might have been okay with it and everything, and probably from the family, but it just didn't come across right.
Yeah. Gave you a bad taste.
Yeah, it did leave a bad taste in my mouth, and it was like, wow. Then we had Mercedes Moné and Camille talking, saying, "Oh, how they're the best. That Mercedes Moné is the best thing for AEW, 5 years and everything. Okay, that's fine. But then to have a certain MVP come in and reveal that he's got a business card and offering business cards to Mercedes Moné, no MVP, no." Don't be doing that. Don't be doing that.
Yeah, she's already the CEO.
She's already a CEO. Move away from Monet, because we don't want you getting pulled into that vortex.
Move away from Monet.
Yeah.
Not like that.
Then we've got the match that everyone was hoping to get. Will Ospreay versus Ricochet. Match itself, great. It was. It was absolutely...
Was it alright?
It was a good match. They didn't do as much springy stuff from their first encounter. It looked like they actually learned from past and told the story. The thing I don't like was the finish.
Okay.
It got basically... it ended with a draw. So it was like, okay, yeah, it's a draw. So...
What was it, time limit or...?
They were both down, both pinned.
They pinned each other?
Yeah, at the same time.
Okay.
But the pin, how it was done, was unique. But then they kicked it back in. They wanted to win it. Restart the match. Great. They restarted it, and Konosuke come running down and just basically beat them both up, disqualified, both of them. Throw the match out. Why? Because he wants the championship. So it wrestled, instead of it being, 1-on-1, it wrestled James. It's a triple threat now between them three. That's it. Which didn't feel great, and it really didn't. Now, what for me, one of the highlights for me would be the rivals of a certain individual.
Is this
Yes.
Shelton Benjamin?
Yes. How they did that was just pure gold.
The Hurt Business is coming, man. They can't call it the Hurt Business.
Hurt Syndicate is what it's rumoured to be.
The Hurt Syndicate.
Hurt Syndicate. Now, what I thought was so funny is Prince Nana coming in, about to lay down a beat down
Yeah.
on MVP. He's like, whoa, that sounds like a complaints. I'm not the complaints department. What do you mean? You'll have to speak to my, head of complaints. Points to Shelton Benjamin.
Nice. I like that.
Who's this? My business partner, Shelton Benjamin.
The Hurt Business, the Hurt Syndicate.
Oh,
do you know,
yeah.
with where they're coming from, do you know what I would call them? I would call them the Federation.
Ooh, that's not bad.
Do you know that? That's what I mean. The Hurt Federation, maybe.
It's got a ring to it.
But yeah, so we've got Shelton Benjamin there, and then Prince Nana obviously doesn't take it any further.
He sort of looks at it and he just goes, "Is that a complaint?" He's like, "No, just words, just words." Takes the cup, takes a sip, good coffee, and then literally nicks it.
Nicks his coffee.
Nicks
as
his
well.
coffee.
Fantastic.
And you just see Nana's like, coffee.
Yeah.
Right, moving on. Rampage. The only thing I would say from Rampage is, for me, that should be highlighted is the fact that you've got Cassidy, Orange Believe, Big Bill, and the Bad Apple. Okay, good match. Overall, I thought it was good, but the problem I have with the whole Rampage situation is there isn't much really on there. It's just filler.
Yeah, I moved to stop reviewing Rampage.
Oh, I 100% agree with you.
What about Collision? What happened on Collision?
The only saving grace for this, we've got Deonna Purrazzo and Taya Valkyrie literally having a bit of a segment. That's it. Anyway, moving on. What?
Let's talk Collision.
Let's move on to Collision. Collision seems to be a little bit better, even though for this week it'll only be on this week, but it won't be on the next week because of Wrestle Dream.
Right, yeah.
And I believe this was pre-recorded.
Okay. So what were the highlights?
So we got Darby Allin versus Johnny TV, the Premier Athlete against the Conglomeration.
Okay.
Willow Nightingale versus Trish Andor. We know exactly who's winning that match.
Yeah.
Wheeler Yuta versus Beef.
Who's Beef? Never heard of Beef.
Probably the replacement for Meat.
No. Stasiak reference. Go on next.
Well, somebody had to. Grizzled Young Veterans versus the Outrunners.
Okay.
The Fatal 4-Way of Nick Wayne versus Commander versus Hologram versus Action Andretti.
Yeah.
And I believe we've also had I'm just looking it up now quickly. We also had a 3-way tag team match to decide who gets a tag team shot at the Young Bucks. Top Flight versus House of Black versus Pirate Party.
Oh, okay.
Which, straight away, overall good. Now, for me, Outrunners versus Grizzled Young Veterans. You can always see where this is going, can't you?
Yeah.
Grizzled Young Veterans ate the loss. Again, the Outrunners beat the Grizzled Young Veterans, and I feel as though they made a big deal of bringing GYVN.
Yeah.
And they're losing.
I'm not surprised. I know you might be. I'm not surprised.
Why?
This is what AEW do. They waste talent.
I just feel as though this is a bit unfair.
And they don't know how to tell a story, right? Sorry to interrupt. But they don't know how to tell a story, right? So we're getting this at the minute. For example, this week we had Will Ospreay versus Ricochet, right? Dream match, fantastic. Nerds, get your special sock out, right? But there's no story, right? So I don't care that the match is happening unless you are a die-hard fan who's been watching Will Ospreay and Ricochet, and you know, in 2014 he had an amazing match. I don't care, right? I want to know why they're wrestling, right? And I want to know they're wrestling because they've got beef or because there's some stakes or something. And actually, we just blew a wad on a dream match because we could.
It was sort of explained a little bit because
It was explained.
no, a little bit, but it's not enough to sink your teeth into.
It doesn't need explaining, though, Matt Burns, right? It doesn't need explaining. It needs a 3-4 week build-up of angles and stuff happening.
Instead of just backstage segments, which is what they did.
A story is not. They had a really good match 5 years ago.
Yeah,
That's not a story.
no, I agree with you. I'm actually agreeing with you on this one.
A story is Solo Sikoa now saying he's the head of the table. A story is CM Punk and Drew McIntyre fighting over a bracelet.
Yeah,
Right? Because when we talk about WWE in a minute, they are the stories that I am 100% invested in.
and the reason why we're actually doing AEW first is just to get this out of the way so we can get onto the prime.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's get it out of the way.
Let's get out of the way.
Because this week, if I was going to bury anything alive, it'd be AEW's creative.
Oof.
Quote me.
Oh dear. Well, let's move on. Will he used to get us angry again at beef? Now he's got beef with beef. But anyway, point being is, he does his beat down and everything. It just seems like as though he doesn't know if he's being a good guy, is he being a bad guy. They're still teasing that at the moment because the weird thing about it is there is one thing I have just missed off, and I'm just going to go back to is on Dynamite. They actually teased up a match for the following Dynamite, which is Bryan Danielson and Utah against Blackpool Combat Club.
Yes.
Straight away, that says to me that's going to be the time where if Wheeler's going to turn, it'll be then. Because it's literally days before the big event, Wrestle Dream. That'll be it. Moving on, shall we? Orange Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly facing the Premier Athletes. We know who's winning that match. Cassidy and Kyle O'Reilly. The 4-way was good, but it's straight away again. I knew straight away who was winning. Hologram. He's been on, new guy, undefeated streak, needs to keep it going.
Yeah, absolutely.
And having Chris Statlander dominating again, which, yeah, that's good. But then having Mercedes Moné and Camille come out saying, I'm too impressed by Chris Statlander. So what, are they going into a program against Chris Statlander? Are they turning Chris Statlander face now, after not long turning the heel? So what direction are we going in AEW? Like what Scott just said, the booking on this just seems as though
there is no booking, I don't think. They're just chucking matches together and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
They're not making a TV show.
And that's all it is. Anyway, that's it. That's all I'm doing. Moving on. Let's get on to WWE.
Right, cool. Let's nip through Raw and SmackDown then, because obviously last night, absolutely humongous WWE Bad Blood event with loads of good stuff coming out of it. So Raw, we had Jey Uso celebrating. Now he's the Intercontinental Champion. Braun Breaker interrupted to congratulate him. He showed a bit of respect, which was nice. Looks like we're going to get Braun Breaker as babyface now, which is really good.
Yeah.
I prefer that. I think he fits that Goldberg, run through people, monster, good guy. I think he fits that role really well.
And the fact that the crowd are actually interacting with him as well.
100%. Xavier Woods defeated Rey Mysterio via roll-up. Xavier Woods, it was a controversial finish actually. He accidentally pulled off Mysterio's mask and then rolled him up quickly. He apologised after saying it was unintentional, but I mean, even if it was unintentional, he absolutely made the most of it.
He still took advantage of the situation.
1000%. And that's another little beat in the inevitable New Day breakup. Zoe Stark defeated Lyra Valkyria via Z360. Zoe Stark, it was help from Sonya Deville and Shayna Baszler actually, or the Pure Fusion Collective. Worst
don't mention that name again
ever. Let's bury that alive. I'm burying stuff left, right and centre today.
Yeah.
Post-match, Caden Carter and Katana Chance actually returned to WWE after a bit of an absence, and they came to Valkyria's aid and made the save, which was nice. I say it was nice, it was a bit meh, but I mean, at least they're doing something with these ladies.
Oh yeah, it is, and one of them now got a bejazzled face mask.
Yeah, absolutely. CM Punk and Drew McIntyre faced off ahead of Bad Blood. This was really good, actually.
Really good segment.
The promo was good. They had the Hell in the Cell actually there for him to stand there and have the promo in. And Punk, really, the whole point of it was that Punk said he was going to take Drew McIntyre to hell, which, yeah, really, really good. Mm-hmm. We then had the Judgment Day defeated the LWO. Was JD Madonna's Devil Inside that got the win there, but it was JD, Carlito and Dominic versus I forget the names. Santos Escobar's former lackeys, and Dragon Lee. I forget the tag team's name. I forget the name. Anyway, so Joaquin Wilde and the other guy.
Wow!
It was interference from Finn Balor anyway, and JD got the win. Then we had Chad Gable versus Kofi Kingston. Chad Gable got the win via Chaos Theory. This was after, funnily enough, Xavier Woods again, and it was botched interference. So he tried to help Kofi, but actually ended up leading to the downfall. So that was another nice beat in that story. So twice in the show we got the Kofi Kingston bit. We then had the last monster stand-in match. My favourite match on TV this week, that was. And I'll make that clear. On TV, this was my favourite match. Because Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed, absolutely fantastic. Until, I don't think they botched the finish, but I think it could have been better. So, loads of stuff going on. Braun Strowman, flying through the air. Bronson Reed put on a really good display. It ended with the ring being obliterated via superplex.
Yeah, isn't that a bit funny, that is?
Again, we talked about this last week.
Yeah, and then it suddenly happened.
Yeah. If you're listening to us in Stamford, Connecticut, you're welcome.
And don't forget to sign the checks to us.
Yeah, we'll have some checks, 1000%. And then the returning Seth Rollins came out to help Strowman at the very end of the match. Looked like Bronson Reed was just going to get up, and he came in with the curb stomp, on top of the steel stairs which were in the ring.
Which looked vicious.
It was really good. So Seth Rollins is back. And that was Raw. SmackDown, we had AJ Styles return. Yeah, we've all been waiting for AJ Styles to come back, which is good. Carmelo Hayes actually defeated AJ Styles, though, by referee stoppage. So we then... AJ Styles hurt his ankle in the match, in inverted commas.
It wasn't actually the ankle, it was the knee. It was the knee.
Was it?
And it might not actually be... inverted commas, it might be legitimate.
Nah, I don't believe that for a second, Matt Burns. Afterwards, the United States champion LA Knight hit Carmelo Hayes with his finisher, the BFT, blunt force trauma, which spiked him on his head.
Which looked wow.
Yeah, it was good. Added drama to their upcoming title match because Carmelo is on his way to the United States Championship match against LA Knight. We then had Michin versus Chelsea Green in a dumpster match. I mean, bring back dumpster matches. That was brilliant. The last dumpster match I remember seeing was the New Age Outlaws versus Chainsaw Charlie and Cactus Jack, yeah?
Yeah.
There's probably been one since, but that's the last one I remember.
Yeah.
Michin got the win anyway. She powerbombed Chelsea Green through a table into the dumpster.
I have one thing I need to bring up.
Go on.
There is one thing I didn't get. What was the difference between, why did Michin come out the bin clean, but Chelsea Green didn't?
Storyline.
What was the one difference that was done between them? Would you like to know what the one difference was?
Go on.
The lid.
Oh yeah, as soon as the lid comes down, you get covered. Yeah.
You get covered
That's
somehow.
The truth, yeah.
Somehow,
that's what happens. We then had Naomi against Tiffany Stratton. Naomi got the win via crucifix pin. Seen a couple of crucifixes this week.
Yeah.
Naomi secured a victory over Ms. Money in the Bank. After a closely contested match, Naomi's win adds further intrigue to Stratton's potential cash-in attempt at Bad Blood. And there's definitely a few... At this point, we were definitely thinking we were going to get a cash-in at Bad Blood. I was, anyway.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
And then in the main event, we had the Bloodline versus the Street Profits versus DIY in a triple threat ladder match for the Tag Team Championships. And my question here is, right, was this announced prior to the show? I don't believe it was.
No.
And that's a huge main event for SmackDown, and it was brilliant as well, yeah?
Yeah.
Really, really good match. All 6 guys did absolutely all they could. Bit of wow factor for me was Angelo Dawkins giving the big dive. Did really, really well onto a ladder.
Yeah.
Which I think they sort of botched because he ended up hitting the floor on the top of his head.
Yeah.
But it was really good, the whole thing. The Bloodline got the win, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, and they won the match, and then Solo and Jacob Fatu came out to congratulate at the end of the night. So really, really good. which leads us to last night's WWE Bad Blood. And if you haven't seen it, pause the podcast now, go and watch Bad Blood, and come back.
Yeah,
because it was excellent.
You know what? We could potentially fit in a break right now, just give them enough time if you wanted to.
Go on then. Do you love NXT?
Yeah.
Do you hate that we don't talk about it on the podcast?
Hell yeah! What's up with that?
Well, you can catch all the NXT action live on our YouTube streams every week if you subscribe at The Burning Truth 251 on YouTube and listen to me, Scott, and I'm talking all things NXT every week on a Wednesday. See you there. Okay, we're back, and let's talk about WWE Bad Blood. So, Bad Blood, here we go. Opening match, Hell in a Cell. CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre. We're finally here, the rubber match. Probably the biggest match in Drew McIntyre's career. And I know he's had WrestleMania main events, and I know he had the Clash at the Castle match. But I think this was about where they both go from here.
For me, I know Drew has been in the Hell in a Cell before.
Yeah.
Right? And I will point this out. This is not his first rodeo, but the last time he was in it, he didn't seem fit.
Yeah.
It didn't seem well. But I think that was because the last time he was in it, he was the face.
Yeah.
This time he's the heel, so he was allowed to have his he seemed to sink into the role.
Yeah.
Which was brilliant.
And listen, this match had everything. It had every weapon I've ever heard of in a wrestling ring. It had missed claymores where Drew McIntyre landed on the edge of some steel stairs, which looked awful. It actually made me want to cry. Right?
I think what made it even worse sound worse is the commentators.
Yeah.
Because you see them going, "Oh no!"
Yeah. We had more blood than you can shake a stick at. We had them using wrenches as weapons, just digging into each other's foreheads, which I'm not a big fan of, but it added real drama. We had Drew McIntyre with a bag of what I thought was thumbtacks, but what came out to be bits of the bracelet.
You know, bits of like bracelet bits,
yeah,
which was
bracelet bits, which was a really good
psychological edge.
Yeah, a really good psychological edge, but a really good beat to the story. And it finished with CM Punk hitting the GTS after he'd wrapped his knee in a chain.
Yep.
Which is the second time I've seen that this week, because that was also on NXT.
Yeah,
watch the YouTube for NXT. Search The Burning Truth 2451.
Yeah. What was interesting in the match is is there was one spot where I was genuinely concerned. That superplex.
Oh yeah, the superplex. It had everything, right? This match literally had everything. Do you know what it is as well? Let me tell you why I love this Hell in a Cell. It might be one of my top 2 or 3 Hell in a Cell matches.
Yeah.
They didn't leave the cell.
They didn't need to.
They didn't need to. And that's the whole point, right?
Yeah, and what was interesting is when he did that superplex, and I looked at it and I saw Drew's legs hit the actual steps, but the way CM Punk landed, I was like, oh, that was a rough landing.
Yeah, go back and watch it if you haven't already. Absolutely phenomenal match. CM Punk gets the win, and hopefully we can leave this behind now.
Yeah.
And CM Punk moves on to whatever is next for him, as does Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Next we had Nia Jax versus Bayley. One of 2 Women's Championship matches. This one for the WWE Women's Championship, normally on SmackDown. And let me tell you, this was the better women's match of the night for me. Right? They were both brilliant. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is the better one. And I'll tell you for why. Because the tease of Tiffy in the bank
Shoulders
was brilliant. And I believed she was going to cash in.
Although I think in Nia Jax borrowing from a certain legend was hilarious.
Yeah.
You know, borrowing from the Undertaker. Doom.
Yeah. The sit-up. Really, really good. Nia Jax got the win in the end after she basically sat on her off the second rope. What do they call it? Bonsai drop?
Yeah, it's bonsai, but I think what was it? She calls it something. She's got another name for it.
Right, well, it's the bonsai drop to me.
Yeah.
It's the bonsai drop to me, damn it.
I think what made it worse is it wasn't just the bonsai drop. It was the Samoan drop off the ropes.
Yeah. And listen, we had everything. We had Bayley hitting a Bayley to belly. We had elbow drop from the top rope.
Yeah.
We had all that stuff. But Bayley couldn't get the job done. And in the end, Nia Jax retained the championship after the bonsai drop.
Yeah.
Third, we had the big grudge match, Damian Priest versus Finn Balor. This is what I previously expected to be in Hell in a Cell. So when it first announced that we were going to have Bad Blood, I thought we might get a Hell in a Cell match. And I actually expected Damian Priest and Finn Balor to be the Hell in a Cell match.
Yeah, I can see why.
However, I'm really glad it wasn't, because these two had another... I mean, there's 5 matches on this card, Matt Burns, and I can't pick a bad one. Right? This was another absolutely solid contest.
It may have bad in the actual name of the actual event, but it wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, it was WWE Good Blood. So this had everything. Damian Priest, Finn Balor, interference from Carlito, JD Madonna. Priest managed to counter a coup de grace attempt and secured the win with his South of Heaven finisher. So Finn Balor had gone off the top rope twice, maybe 3 times to hit coup des, whilst Damian Priest was sort of hunched over, so like on his back.
Yeah.
And then the last one, Priest was ready for him, turned around, caught him, but Paul Heyman would say, by the throat! And then hit the South of Heaven, which is almost a sit-out chokeslam.
Yeah.
For the cover 1, 2, 3. Another really, really good match.
Although at one point I actually did wonder if something broke on one of them. The punch, that where Finn came off the top rope, and you just heard that crack.
Oh yeah, great shot.
I looked at it, I just went, was that his hand breaking or his face?
Yeah. Fourth, we had more Street Trash Judgment Day shenanigans. Did you notice the Street Trash t-shirt that JD Madonna was wearing?
It's been for a few weeks now.
Yeah. And we had Liv
And
Morgan.
I think it's even on Balor's gear.
Yeah. And we had Liv Morgan defending against Rhea Ripley for the Women's World Championship. This is the one where Dominic Mysterio was in the shark cage, right? Which, again, absolutely fantastic. And the stunt they pulled with this, I really enjoyed. And it might be a bit cringe, right? But I really enjoyed the stunt.
No, I enjoyed it.
So they get him up in the cage, and they're having the match as they will. And Dominic, because he's done hard time, he picks the lock and manages to open the door on the shark cage.
Yeah.
But then he's still like
he's afraid of heights.
feet up in the air, isn't he?
Even though he's a
afraid
high
of
flyer.
heights. Yeah. So then even though he's a high flyer. But it's a story, Matt Burns. And then he starts to lean out because Rhea Ripley hits the riptide on Liv Morgan on the floor outside the ring.
Ow!
Yeah, looked good. And as Dominic's just trying to check on her, he falls out of the cage, but his leg is chained up, and he's hanging upside down from the shark cage.
I will say this to you. For a split second, they actually made me believe.
Did you think he was going to...
I actually... No, when he went, I thought to myself, oh no! They made me legitimately forget. And it was just, oh no! It looked like it was a botch, but then you actually found out it is. It's like, oh!
Yeah, caught him, which gave Rhea Ripley the opportunity to get the kendo stick and start beating the hell out of him, which again was a really good beat in the story. And just as we think she's going to get Liv Morgan back in the ring and get the win, who should return and attack Rhea Ripley and side with Liv and Dominic? Maybe a new member of the Judgment Day, who knows? But Raquel Rodriguez.
Yes.
Absolutely brilliant. I love this because Raquel is the only woman dominant enough to dominate Rhea.
Yeah. Now, what I find a bit unique with this situation is I like the idea. It was just how it got handled after. She hit her, threw her into the ring, hit the big move, the bell's already rang, and she just places Liv on. And I think the commentators had to cover that. You know, it's just a symbolic, and you can almost see a look on her face and say, "Oh dear, I think I should. I don't think I should have done that." Or
yeah, so they've played it as Rhea Ripley won the match, but Liv Morgan retained because Rhea won by DQ.
Yeah, it's disqualification, which is fine, which it was fine. But the only angle I've got for it now is, where did we go from here?
Well, now we go to, so Liv Morgan will be busy because she'll have to wrestle Nia Jax at Crown Jewel, so that's 4 weeks of build.
Yeah.
Raquel and Rhea can crack on and have meat slapping meat for women. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit like the classic NXT Black and Gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant, which is exactly what it needs to be. And then following that, Rhea can either then go towards the Rumble and maybe think about it that way, or she can go back and challenge Liv again. But also, there's potentially other challengers on the roster for Liv Morgan, right?
There is.
Yeah. So, do I think it's over? No. I just think we're taking a bit of a detour why Rhea now has to deal with Raquel.
Yeah.
That leads us to the main event. We've been looking forward to this. We've been waiting for this. And I expected returns, and I got one, right, that I definitely thought was coming, and I got one that I definitely didn't think was coming. So the main event, Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa versus Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. Right? What a match. Yeah? What a tag match. Again, it reminded me why we've probably missed Roman over the last 6 months, because when it comes to pay-per-view main events, right, and creating drama, he's probably the best in WWE right now, Roman Reigns. So, high stakes, personal tension. Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes get the win after the new bloodline, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, come out and interfere. But then Jimmy Uso returns in a hood to take out them and help make the save for Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. After the match then...
Oh, before we get to there...
Oh, go on.
I thought that there was one nice touch.
Go on.
Cody on top of the post.
Oh, yeah.
The salute. He's like, you got this! Whee!
Yeah. So Cody's... he put Jacob Fatu through the announce table, jumped off the turnbuckle, but not on the turnbuckle. He was on the top of the LED post, which is really good. So Cody and Roman get the win anyway, which is brilliant. Roman and Jimmy leave together after they give themselves a big cuddle, which is lovely. They're walking down the aisle. All of the bloodline then attacks Cody and starts putting him down.
Yeah.
Jimmy says to Roman, I'm with you. What do you want to do? Do you want to help him? Or Roman goes, it was just one time. And then they decide, I think eye contact helps them decide. Jimmy pretty much makes Roman do the right thing here. And they both go back, save Cody Rhodes, put the bloodline down, the new bloodline, the faux bloodline, the floodline. Put the floodline down.
I like it.
They're in the ring looking at each other. Cody and Roman lock eyes. And then, just as we think it's all over, if you smell what the Rock. And out comes the final boss. Final boss! He always has to shout it, doesn't he? You can't just say final boss. He has to shout, the final boss! Yeah. The Rock comes out wearing his People's Champ belt over his shoulder. And he just locks eyes with him. And then he motions 1, 2, 3... and then the Undertaker's cut to the neck. And I'm not sure exactly what he's saying. I think maybe, reading between the lines, he's saying that the three of you are done. Ooh. I thought it was a threat for Jimmy, Roman and Cody. And then The Rock disappears, and that's the end of the show.
So you're wondering if Rock has sent in Solo to be the new tribal chief?
Maybe.
Ooh.
And I wonder if we're going to get a bit of a different story now, because last year we had The Rock acknowledge Roman as the tribal chief. But The Rock was always on that graphic as the high chief.
Yeah.
So I just wonder what we're going to get. What we're going to get going forward. But the story continues. The Bloodline story, the greatest story in wrestling ever, right, continues with a new beat. And we roll on. We roll on to the next part of the story.
Yeah.
That was reviews, and that was a long segment. So let's take a break, and when we come back, I'll let you get the shovel.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hello, friends. Are you enjoying the Burning Truth Live so far? Well, I hope you are, because we're working bloody hard to make it as good as we can. But what we need is your help, and we need your help by subscribing and leaving us a 5-star review. You do not know how much it will help the podcast if you can do that for us. It'll help us spread the word, help us grow the community, and more than anything, it'll help us keep providing amazing wrestling content like we are right now. Thank you so much for listening. Let's get back to the show. But please, please, please rate and review and subscribe. Thanks, guys.
Dearly beloved, we're gathered here today for the Buried Alive, which is wrestling's equivalent to Room 101.
Yeah, Buried Alive. Buried Alive, that's our segment where we take a storyline or an angle or something from wrestling's past and decide that it's rubbish and that it should be buried for all time, and we will bury it alive, never to see the light of day again.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So we're buried alive. What are we burying alive this week, Matt Burns?
Shovel's already on standby for this because finally I get to pick something I want to bury.
Okay.
This is something I want to bury. And I feel as though it needs to be buried. If it doesn't, I want to know how and why. This would be the whole anonymous Raw general manager.
Okay.
Because I feel as though it went on far too long. The outcome of it at the end was pointless. And it just felt as though nothing came out of it. There was no real benefit. The only thing that came out of it was heel Michael Cole. And what did that do for everybody?
I mean, it didn't do a great deal for anybody, really, did it?
No, you just got Michael Cole going, I got coal miners. Really? Just really?
Should I go first then with reasons why I love it?
What?
Yeah, I'm going to use the word love. L is for the way you look at me. Through a webcam, because it's anonymous Raw general manager.
Of course.
So, right, I've got 5 reasons.
Go on.
Here's my top 5 reasons why it was good, right? So, mystery, yeah? So, constant speculation about who it was one of the reasons it worked so well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Unpredictability. So, surprise announcements, match stipulations added. It was really unpredictable. It was an unpredictable time for Raw.
Yeah?
Yeah, anything could happen. At any point it could go, bloop, 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 and Michael Cole would have to stand up and say something, right? So I liked that part of it. I liked that it was more unpredictable than Eric Bischoff as the GM or Teddy Long, tag match player, because you always knew where those things were going.
Or Undertaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Randy Orton.
Yeah.
Character conflict, so it created fun, memorable interactions. I used to really like it when the Raw general manager, the anonymous Raw general manager, frustrations with John Cena, Edge, and it fueled other rivalries as well, right? Mm-hmm. So there got other rivalries that definitely had the fire stoked by the anonymous Raw general manager. I liked it for that as well. Number 4, match creativity. So the GM's ability to book unexpected matches kept things fresh and exciting, because that happened quite a lot as well. It did things that were unexpected or not quite normal. And number 5 was flexibility and longevity. So the fact that it went on so long and it was still a mystery, and a really good mystery, was one of the really good parts. So I know you just said it went on too long, but for me, the fact that it went on so long was really good, because the mystery was what was keeping it alive, and it was flexible. So it allowed WWE to be flexible with what the outcome was. Now,
Okay.
I'm not saying that the outcome was perfect, because Hornswoggle under the ring was probably not the first thing that they thought of doing, but you had to finish it somehow. And if we rebooked it, right?
Yeah.
The end of the anonymous Raw general manager, I'm sure we could have done something much stronger than.
Maybe that could be a future episode.
Maybe we'll have to keep that in mind.
Maybe.
So they're my reasons why I love the anonymous Raw general manager.
For me, okay, it's annoying, and yeah, you can sit there and say it's a heel thing. What I just didn't get was they've got this computer laptop on the front, broad daylight, and you got Michael Cole walking up, lifting it up to then read the script. That was a piece of paper on the laptop. Why is there a script on the laptop? Just have the thing on.
What if it runs out of battery?
Really? So they haven't got a battery strong enough or be charged enough for 3 hours. They had to have something.
I mean, I'm sure they could have plugged it in, to be fair. They
could have just plugged it in. They got enough plugs there. How? If they wanted to do it, they could have made a funny segment out of it. Oh, the GM's been powered down, and then instead just have it come through his phone.
Yeah.
Or over the PA.
I just think the reason it works so well is the same reason that Deal or No Deal works so well and always has done, because of the banker. Because you don't know who it is, but you want to know. That's the reason it's so good.
There was no payoff from this.
No.
There wasn't. And I just feel as though they could have led clues into it, like I said, the mystery, but it just felt as though they were just picking up pieces of clumps and just going, right, here's a fan, let's just swing it and let's see what sticks. And that's... I understand some of it might work, but not all of it works. And it also depended on who was doing the writing for that week. Because one week, the anonymous general manager was nice. Then another week he was an absolute, being ruthless and not being fair. There was no real balance of it. So then when it came to the reveal of being Hornswoggle, it just meant nothing to me. It was just that was the big reveal.
And that's probably what lets it down, and is probably the reason that we'll bury it alive today.
Yeah.
Because the reveal. I wish that it had a stronger finish. If it was me, this is what I would have done. I would have eventually decided which way we wanted to go in terms of the leadership of Raw, whether that be a GM, a commissioner, whatever. And I would have had the anonymous Raw general manager eventually been revealed to have been that new character or returning legend or whatever, and then had them taken over the role on TV. So you would have had them as the anonymous Raw general manager for a while, and then had the aftermath of them as the actual GM for a while. So you almost get, for example, right? Let's say it was going to be Arn Anderson, just picking a name out of the air, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Arn Anderson, the anonymous Raw general manager for 6 months, and then it's revealed it's Arn Anderson, and then you get 6 months of Arn Anderson as the GM.
Works.
Right? That it works then, because you've had 6 months free.
Yeah.
Where you've just created mystery, and then you go on to have that GM character.
Yeah, that would have been better instead of just literally having the anonymous general manager go missing, and then suddenly pull it out of nowhere. What was it, in a rumble or something? Quite randomly.
I can't remember what it was, but it was Hornswoggle under the ring.
It was Hornswoggle under the ring with a laptop, and it was like, well, who was that? And then she revealed it was like, I just looked and I just went, really? Yeah. And it was like, that is now just completely meant nothing. Everything that was done before meant nothing.
Yeah.
And it's just absolutely ended it.
Go on then, Matt Burns, get the shovel.
Right, I'm going to enjoy this one. Get in there!
Buried alive. Thanks for your suggestions, guys, on the comments and your emails for what we should bury alive. Keep sending them in, and we will get to them. That was another suggestion this week from another member of our community, if you like.
Yeah.
So please keep sending your suggestions for what we should bury alive, because we will eventually talk about them on the pod.
That we will.
Let's do a top three.
Do the top three!
To the top three! To the top three! To the top three! What do we make?
And welcome back to the top three!
To the top three!
Right, this week, as we keep going back and forth and passing each other, lists of what we can do, it can either be the best, the worst, and everything all the above and below. There's no in between. We can't have in between. It's got to be either the best or the worst. Nothing in the middle. Where with this, for this week, for top three, I've asked Scott to provide me with his top three best entrance themes.
Oh, it hurts. Okay, so here's how I've approached this list. I've gone really personal. These are my top three. These are my favourite three. These aren't my, which I think are the best tunes or the best music to run on the treadmill to, or etc. Not that I'm running on a treadmill anytime soon. But these are just my favourite wrestling themes, right? Number three is Metal, Kurt Angle, also the Patriot.
Ooh.
Yeah. Love that.
I can see why.
Yeah. Number two, and there's been big deliberation on this, but I've finally decided on it. It's My World, Jeff Jarrett. Yeah,
What?
it's My World.
I'm surprised that's not number one.
Yeah, that's number two. Because number one, my number one wrestling theme tune has got to be The Undertaker. Because how could it not be?
Hang on. Take it in the top three. Number one again.
Yeah, twice.
Could this become another undefeated streak?
The streak is alive.
It's coming back.
Yeah, so two for Taker. But yeah, Taker, yeah, 1000%, because that the entrance as a whole, but it's the music. You know what I mean? It just absolutely makes it.
You just hear that gong.
Oh, yeah.
Done.
Yeah, 1000%. And I thought about loads. I thought about Austin, Rock, Mick Foley, the car crash one. I thought about Triple H, who's got a fantastic entrance theme. NWO, Batista's, Randy Orton's, really strong. John Cena, my time is now, really strong entrances.
There is.
Edge, we were talking about Clash at the Castle earlier on. When we went to that first Clash at the Castle and Edge came out, that was a moment in that stadium. Caught me off guard, right? I was all kinds of emotional. But even so, my three favourite, if I put my hand on my heart, Kurt Angle number 3.
So, hang on. So, number 3, Kurt Angle. Number 2,
Double J, Jeff
Double
Jarrett,
J and
My World.
And number 1,
The Undertaker.
100% understandable. Good list. And yes, that they are your own choice. But like I said, you also had some good shout-outs on there. And there is, no matter what, it's always down to personal choice. And if now, what I'm interested in is hearing, the listeners' point of view.
Absolutely. What are your favourite wrestling theme tunes? Let us know. Tweet us. Leave a comment below if you're on YouTube or if you're on Spreaker or Spotify.
Yeah.
You can send us an email at info@theburningtruthuk.com. Let us know, guys, because we're really, really interested in what your favourite top 3 entrance themes were. Matt Burns, any ideas on yours?
Ooh, I think you've actually got My World is in my top 3.
I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to come back next week and ask Matt Burns his top 3 wrestling theme songs, exactly the same. So put a pin in that for next week, Matt Burns, because you've got a whole week to think about yours. That's not all you've got a whole week to think about, because next week also you're going to rebook. And the reason I'm giving you a full week to think about this is because you're a big AEW fan, right?
Right.
And I want you to rebook something that happened in AEW not so long ago. So here's what I want. Next week, live on the podcast, you're going to rebook Sting's AEW retirement storyline.
Are you trying to end me?
That's what's happening.
I'm just asking you, are you trying to end me? Because bear in mind, that's going to be difficult to beat.
So join us next week for that rebook with Matt Burns.
Yeah.
Well, that's a wrap for this week's episode of The Burning Truth Live. Thanks so much for joining us today. We hope you've had as much fun listening as we've had recording. If you want to keep the conversation going, you can find us on Twitter at TBT Live UK, Instagram at The Burning Truth, Facebook at The Burning Truth, and you can listen to all of our episodes and NXT Live reactions on the YouTube at The Burning Truth 251. Got any questions? You can drop us an email at info@theburningtruthuk.com. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It really helps spread the word, and it's great for the algorithm, yeah? And check out our website at theburningtruthuk.com for more updates.
But until next time, stay positive, keep enjoying the wrestling, and we will catch you all on the next episode of The Burning Truth Live.
It's my world. Oh, wait, no. Excelsior. Psst. It's Scott. Did you rate and review the podcast yet? Cheers.